Welcome to another edition of Binary Life, and today we're going to practice something called ConfigMaps, which is a way to inject environment variables inside pods. Alright, so let's just follow through the exercise and we are going to learn in the process. So how many pods do we have in the system? We have one. One. Next question, what is the environment variable name set on the pod? So let's get my easiest way is to get the pod definition file. And displayed in an output format of YAML, and look at where the pod is defined, or the container somewhere here, and this is the environment variable that is injected into the container. An app color with the value of pink. So what is the environment variable? Is app color here. What is the value set on the environment variable app color? It's set to pink. So basically, when this container or pod will be created, you will have this environment variable available for the pod to use for its internal functioning. So view the web application using the UI button here, web app color here. See, I suppose that it's using that environment variable to as background for this website. You can see the pink color here. Okay. So update the environment variable to display green. What I'm going to do is I'll record a command that shows the pod definition file and send it into a file called mypod.yaml, which is going to permit me to edit and change the whole thing to green. Like that. Alright, let's list back the pods. Now I need to delete this thing and recreate the pod from the file. So this is going to delete, and I'm going to apply the new one automatically. So it's deleted, and now it has to create the pod. I just put the two commands in one line. Taking some time there to finish. Right, so this is now created, and we can still review this definition file right now. Let's just observe on the screen. You can see that the one that is running now, it's changed to green. What if I refresh this thing? It has used the green color. So I check, everything is running fine. It says I can refresh this thing, or we click on the tab here to view. I just did that already. Refresh. Settings thing. How many config maps exist in the default namespace? So kubectl get config maps. We have 2. Now identify the database hosts from the config map. This I can also do that by doing a get. I can describe. Let's just use the two this definition. I can describe the config map actually. And followed by the name, and we can get the variables here. I can also do get config map like this and get the name of the config map and look at the definition file. And what is the host? The host is sql01.example.com, or here, this one. Create a new config map for the web app port. So this one is for the cube something, this is for the DB. Let's create something for the web app without even giving a name, this name here. I don't know if we can do something like this. Create config map dry run equal to client. Can we do that? Exactly one name is required. I need to put the name of the config map. Dry run equal to client permits. Make as if the command it's about to be executed, but it will just display the definition file on the screen so that you can see how it's going to look like without actually creating. So what if I do this and I redirect into a file? I'll just call it web app config.yaml, something like this. YAML. And then if I open the file, oops, this isn't good. Wait, it looks like it actually, let me come out of this. It looks like it did create a config map. Let's see. kubectl get config map. Nope, it didn't create one. This thing is not working. Okay, no trouble. I'm going to have to create one myself. Now, this is what I will do. I will try to do something like creating I can just go to the documentation. Why am I thinking twice? So let's open the Kubernetes official website. I want to get the whole definition of a sample definition file and just modify. So config map, and modify the data section of the config map. Basically it has the same headers like API version, metadata, and the rest. Something like this. I'm going to copy this and let's reopen this file, web config map. Right, and let's paste what we just copied, and I'm going to make it as minimalistic as possible. Let's delete this, the comments. Right, so the name of the config map is supposed to be this. And then we are supposed to add these two data here. So the first data is oops, I'm going to create this. So the first data is supposed to be app color. In all caps. And the value is dark blue. Second variable is app order. And the value is disregard. I'm going to save that, and if I check nothing is going to appear because I haven't applied kubectl apply this web app config map something. It's created and I can just check if it's running. Alright, we have it here. So if I check, we're good. And then the next question should be to use it to a pod, I'm guessing. Update the environment variable on the pod to use the app color of the config map. So basically, we have this pod here that I extracted here. And it has an environment variable called app color of green. So we have to make it use this config map here and use this dark blue color, this app color environment variable, instead of just typing it like this. So I have to check how to inject environment variables from config maps inside that pod. So I will have to modify that pod, my pod. And how do we inject that? I think it's env from something. So this is a pod definition file. This is the injection from a config map here. I will copy something like this. Now let's come back here and try to modify this file from here. I'll delete the upper part, but first let me inject. Let me leave it on its own there. What am I missing? env. This is the name, the property file name. The name and the key. Okay. So I just have to add it under the name property. So under the env, I think I have this is a property name that exists. This is a property that was created here. Is the value that was injected from the config map, but I need to inject the whole environment variable. So here it's the value that was injected from the config map. What about the name? Let's check and see. I'm actually forgetting something. Okay. Let's try something like this. So we have an env. I'm going to roll back here. We have an env of app color, and the value is going to come from, sorry about that, the value is going to come from value from a config map ref here. So let's go to the next line. You go to config map reference, and what is the name of that config map? The name of the config map is the one that we just created right now. It was ref something. I'm going to not game video. I'm going to come out of this video so that I can grab the name. This is the name of the config map, web app config map. So let's go back to the pod, my pod, and let's put the name of the config map here. Okay, and then this is the key from which we'll get the value. See, remember it's value from. So let's get the key. Copy this. And what is the key? The key was app color. Right, so I suppose Kubernetes is wise enough to enter into that config file and get the value from this key. So before we apply this, remember this is dark blue, so this website is supposed to be dark blue. But then we have to delete the port because we just modified the port. We have to delete the running port and we create a new port from this file. So let's do this. Up. Taking some time. Right, let's wait for it to finish. Okay, now let's apply what we just did. My port, it's created, and let's check. The best way to check is to refresh here for it to be dark blue. It's actually dark blue, which means it does work. So in summary, we created the config file like this, and then we had a port file like this. We injected the values of that config file here. We went and took the value from the key app color, so it replaced the value here, and it was available for the port to use. That's what went on in the background. It says we can refresh. I just did that. And so that is the use of config files. Thanks for viewing. See you on another video. Don't forget to subscribe. More and more practice labs will be coming.